you had paved the way for the wave of vlogging that was me, Jake. I'm not sure who else was crazy enough to daily vlog at the time, because as you know, that is incredibly toxic and difficult. But
I feel like I have to apologize for the world now if I'm the reason that you and Jake started
easy.
vlogging.
I didn't say you were the reason. I said you paved the way.
You know, Logan, there's the Logan Casey history is a story I don't think a lot of people know, but way back in the day when I was like first trying to figure out how to launch my tech app, this was like 2013, Vine was the hottest thing. And I knew that like I needed to work with influencers to like launch my product, and I didn't have the social media presence then that I have now. And Jerome Jarre is a dear friend. He's like, come out to LA, let me introduce you to all these Viners. And he brought me out, and like
that was the beginning of the end. That's when it all went downhill.
Like all the Viners were super young.
Yeah.
You guys were like maybe 18, 19, 20.
Squirts.
Yeah, young. And I had no YouTube presence then. So like, you know, like Jerome's prancing around being like, this is Casey, he's gonna launch an app, you should know him. And like, I understand, like not everybody was excited about like meeting this like 20-year-old fucking 35-year-old guy who's about to launch some app. And like, you were so generous and you were so kind to me at that time. Like you gave me the time of day, like you sat down with me, you heard me out, like I hung out in your apartment for like a day, we like met a bunch of people together. And I've always really appreciated that. But also within there, on that very day, and I don't know if you remember this, because there's also a journalist there interviewing you, had like a million things going on in that exact moment. But this is when you were living at, I don't know what the address was.
1600.
1600 Vine. Yep. Every Viner, which was the biggest platform out, every Viner in the fucking world lived in that building. Yep. And I said to you then, I was like, you guys need to do a YouTube show right now. I was like, do a daily vlog. And this is when no one was daily vlog. This was like Fun for Louie was the only daily vlogger. I was like, you guys need to start a vlog, use this entire building as your set, and all the Viners in here as your like talent. And I think like you, and I don't know who you were living with.
It was me and Lance 210.
We just talked
as
about
much as we poke at Lance 210, we love Lance 210.
Oh, yeah.
He's the reason I got into vlogging. Y'all want to get mad at someone? Get mad at Lance 210. He's the reason. It was me and Lance that were vlogging, and then Jake started.
Is that right? But this was like 4 years before you guys started vlogging. Like
the
opportunity at 1600 was so rich.
Yeah.
Because like in what world? I think even at the time MTV was considering a show called Hollywood and Vine, because those are the cross streets.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's also like such an appropriate title for a fucking show. It's such a good idea.
The problem was, and a lot of maybe media companies or studios who try to do this talent first model, the problem was we couldn't all unite.
Right.
We had individual goals, and we were unwilling to drop those to form this group and this show together. And that's why it never worked.
It's one of those situations where like if any of the people who lived at 1600 Vine understood then what is commonly understood in the community now, it would have been a different equation.
Agree.
It was also just like the idea of a daily vlog back then was just that thing where like people talking to a point and shoot being like, yo, go to get some coffee now. Like it wasn't sort of the creative outlet that vlogging has matured into.
It's been so crazy to see the evolution of vlogging. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about this because it fascinates me. I feel horrible for the next wave of vloggers. You know who Alex Warren is?
Yeah.
Talk to the kid all the time. He's a friend of mine, and I really believe in him. But I have to acknowledge that it's probably so hard to really break through. Everything's been done. Everything's been done. We filled the pool with 1 million Orbeez. We built a giant Lego structure and knocked it down. We've given away cars. We've given away money. Like it's all been done. So what is next for the YouTube vlogger?
You know, I think the exact opposite.
Yeah.
We've
been saying it.
I think, no, I had this conversation with my friend Sam yesterday. I think that like the vlogging space is so wide open. Because if you look at like who the really successful vloggers were, and you say you count 20 of them, if you can count that many, they all fall into like one of 2 or 3 sort of genres of vlogging. You know, like Alex falls into like the David Dobrik sort of comedic skit vlogging, like you and your brother sort of, and Lance 210, like you all sort of fall into this sensationalist category of vlogging, which is like your life is so wild and that's why people are tuning in. for me, it was much more about like, here's my perspective on the world. And then maybe the other category would be like, this is literally my life, which is just people sharing the specifics of their. I think that leaves like this wildly wide open green pasture that doesn't necessarily adhere to any one of those really cleanly defined buckets.
So there needs to be a new format?
Yeah, I think that like.
But you'd agree that's hard. That's hard.
That's the hardest thing to do.
So okay, so it is hard. You're saying.
I think it's hard, but you were okay. So I understood what you were saying. Is like it's done. Like there's nothing left to invent.
I agree. I agree. It's wide open.
Not easy.
But the barrier to entry.
Oh yeah, way higher. You can't you can't pick up a camera and fill your pool up with fucking Mountain Dew and get a million views anymore. Like it just will not happen. But I think that like there's an appetite out there. Like the Kardashians is coming off the air. Like people still want. They want to see. They want stories. They want to understand life. Like give the people that. Like tell them a story, and I think people will engage like in a huge way. I think that like right now YouTube, so much of YouTube, especially the creator community, feels so stale. And I'm not picking on anyone in particular. I just mean that it's like I think the last truly like revolutionary wave that I saw on the platform was Dobrik, like where you looked at it and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
No one's doing anything like this. I've never seen anything like that before. But now Dobrik's been doing it for, a number of years. He's still incredible. He's not lost his touch at all. But it's no longer brand new. And I say, I hope that doesn't sound like a dig. I think he is absolutely brilliant. But like, what is the next evolution in sort of the vlogging genre? I don't know. But I just mean like, if we haven't seen anything new in that long, there's an opportunity right now just to figure out what that is.
Massive. We'll leave it up to you guys to figure that out.
Yeah, all right.
Because that wave is passed for me. That wave is passed is officially for you. It's a pass for David now. It looks like too at this point. The burnout that vlogging causes is
tremendous.
Nasty. Is that why you stopped? 2016, right?
I mean, yeah. For me, it's like I think about it a lot, but it's like you put so much of yourself out there. I had a great conversation with Phil DeFranco about this because that guy's been doing it forever.
Yeah.
But you put so much of yourself out there, you externalize so much of who you are, that you land at this like weirdly existential place, and it's like, shit, what's left for me? And I know that's how I felt towards the end, and then like you start to just go through these motions of making videos that are less the sort of like intimate, sincere, genuine stories, and they're just like, you just plug it into pieces so you can put content out, because you start to get excited about things other than making great videos. You get excited about the money, you get excited about the fame, you're excited about the subscribers, like the constant ego stroke, like all of these things that in aggregate, for me anyways, in aggregate, none of those, like all those are a drip in the ocean, and the ocean is like really sharing an amazing story. Like that's such an amazing, wonderful thing to be able to do. And when that was sort of supplanted, when that was removed and it was replaced with just like post a video, get the views, post the video, I started to not feel great about myself or what I was doing. And that's when you just have to like be honest with yourself and like, okay, I gotta sort of hit the brakes, even if it's a very expensive decision to make.
Sure.
You know who I think is great and I think is a new genre? Jeff Wittig.
Oh, the barbershop?
You
went on, right?
Dude, it's such a good show.
Yeah.
And you can see he's still getting better with every episode, which means he's got a long way to go.
Yes.
But like you've got long form, like your podcasts, and you break it up, you put it out in pieces, and it's great, and there's a number of different ways to consume it. But I feel like Jeff has merged what is effectively like conversation with actual like a YouTube format in a way that's really compelling. And as he like ramps up the comedy, he like leans into Jonah as like his foil.
Yeah.
He's like, who was it? Conan had Andy Richter or whatever.
Yep,
He's like a guy who would sit on his like it's maturing into something that feels really rich. Like there's no talk show in the YouTube community that doesn't follow sort of a traditional format. And Jeff's show is something really new.
It's refreshing.
When
I first saw it, I really liked the format.
It's a good format.
You could tell right away. It's like there's something here. It's almost the same model as like a carpool karaoke, where it's like there's a what's it called? What's that type of activity? Menial task, menial
going
activity.
on,
while the character, what's the word I'm looking for? I think I just had a stroke.
But also it takes a certain guest for that show, because it's a very dry humor. He just had me and my girlfriend on a couple weeks ago, and it was too much for her. Like for me, all right, so I sit down in the chair. First thing he does is lean over to adjust the chair, and a heroin needle falls out of his pocket in front of me. And he goes, I'm so sorry. I don't know where that came. And my girlfriend looks at me like, and I'm like, just trust the process, laugh at it. But it's certain people I don't think could go on that show. And you have to be able to laugh at yourself in a major way to go on that show.
I mean, he put me in his closet, and he's like, make sure you stand to the left side because I'm going to cut the door down. And I was like, okay, cool. And I like stand to the left side, and I hear a chainsaw start.
Right.
A gas-powered chainsaw. And I was like, I'm going to back up just a little bit more. And like, wee! And the door comes down with a chain, like a spinning blade through the door. But look,
did he tell you he was going to do this beforehand? Or?
I wasn't worried. But it plays, man. It's good humor. It's a good show. It's a good show. I think he's doing smart things. He's a good interviewer. A lot of that humor is really, I think, really sophisticated. I'm a huge fan.